Good Lord. You want to talk about the dangers of religious extremism? Check this out. I'm reading Exploring Forensic Astrology by B.D. Salerno. Okay, so John List was born. Okay, we'll just jump to it. Basically, this book's about all these different examples of murders and how astrology can be used, not just to look back in time, but see why this murder occurred by showing the relationship of people and their astrology, but to be able to look into the future. And I will say that my big question on that is, okay, I can buy that, right? But if the astrology shows that, oh, well, this is why this person was murdered at this time and this place, etc., then how can you use that information to stop that from occurring if it's destined to happen? But putting that aside, List was a religious extremist and extremely fearful that his family was following the path of sin. His daughter had wanted to become an entertainer, and his sons were engaged in sports activities that, in his view, would corrupt their souls and lead them down the path of damnation. Foosball is the devil. Remember Waterboy? So his ultimate act of control was to destroy them before they could destroy themselves. Can you imagine? Like, I just had never even thought of that before. If you're religious, like a Christian, and you think that this whole life is nothing compared to this eternity in heaven, and that it's all about living for this eternity in heaven, then wouldn't that justify such an action? I have failed my children by allowing them to get into sports and entertainment. So I'll play Jesus and make a sacrifice of my life and my eternal soul and spirit. And if I kill them, then they won't sin. But then, of course, obviously the safety valve was the Christian would say, you don't have to do all that stuff. Like, Jesus does it all. You just sorry, I messed with my hair. You would leave it up to God, and it doesn't matter what happened if we ask for forgiveness and do our best to live in accordance with His Word. So I'm not trying to be hateful towards religion, but I am saying this is extreme. And the last thing I'll say is that you definitely hear the talk of certain dark Talmudic rabbis say that America must be sacrificed as Edom, so that the chosen ones over in Israel, can rule the world for the good of all of us. And of course, you see this again in the environmental left movement of, oh, I love nature so much, we got to kill all these people, starting with the white men. Anyway, what do you think about religious extremism? I mean, because you could be talking about, in my mind, religion, the word as taught to me by Mark Passio, former Satanist, now truths, truth, I don't know what you call them, but just spiritualists like me, I guess. Somebody who's aware of the more occulted aspects of these religions. That's what's the problem. I was talking about last night on End of Days Radio, is that in my opinion, when you put things like astrology and Kabbalah as the weirdo mystical stuff over here versus some totally uptight fat white Christian who goes to the Cracker Barrel after they go to Baptist church and sit in the pew. Those are always connected through Christianity, which is like a merger of those two worlds. And I must say, in my own looking into all these occulted, which occulted means hidden in Latin, and religion comes from religare, which means ties that bind, to bind, kind of like keywords, how we tag things, and have these associations with them. So if somebody's a vegan and they're judging everybody else as the cause of all the evil in the world because they eat a hamburger, but then if you follow that logic, those people get into the well, we love the earth so much we gotta kill all the people and reduce the population. You know what I mean? Like, the peace is even worse than the war. And then in regards to this whole, Israel versus the World War III thing, that's the stated objective of the West, America, and all this. Well, we gotta have a war to end all wars. World War I. Well, let's do it again. We're coming back for World War II. This surely will be the end. We have set up Israel and the United Nations. Oh, now we've got to have a nuclear World War III. And if we, use our magic to sacrifice America and all the goys and let our sins be put on them, our cooties put on them. You see what I'm saying? There really is no difference between all these far out mystical ideas versus saying, well, we have to go to war with Russia via NATO to bring peace. And then when when this war is over, there will be no more nations, and all the armies will be turned off and turned into one global police force. And then it's like, doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, okay, and then you're just gonna kill all the people that disagree left with that. But then just say it's police, like Vietnam, that was a police action. Because we're already in the New World Order of communism. So, in the bigger scope of world affairs, always the question is there anything we can do to positively affect the outcome of these events? And I sure do see a lot of viability in the idea that a Christian has, that, or a Gnostic as well, this world is just a ding-dang simulation to learn things, and that really our physical lives don't matter. It's about spiritual growth. And then let's say you were pagan, and in a very pragmatic way, where you're like, I just only deal with my world as I understand it. People live and die. Well, if your whole life is just while you're alive, you see what I'm saying? I mean, it really just questions the whole, what does it matter what you do or what happens? Such a blip on the radar. The best people there have ever been all died. It's pretty easy to not see as much difference between the greatest people who've ever lived and the most mundane. Because the further you go through time, it all just becomes the background. Thank you very much.